Do you think that animal sellers, flesh merchants are the same as cigarette companies, tobacco farmers? I think maybe they are. PETA just released this thing saying to Hormel and Smithfield, two of like some really nasty culprits when it comes to animal cruelty. Go vegan like Italian meat giant, or fail like big tobacco farmers. I mean, that's something. Big tobacco farmers, they all failed. They don't have any money anymore, do they? Those stupid tobacco farmers. They killed everybody. They tried to hide the fact that their product was killing Americans and, well, people all over, but Americans in particular, since tobacco comes from America. You're welcome, the rest of the world. We gave you tobacco. Get out while you still can. PETA's message to Hormel Food and Cargill, Smithfield Food, Tyson Food, and Oscar Mayer today, after one of Italy's oldest meat producers, Gruppo Tonazzo, announced that it will stop selling environmentally destructive meat products in favor of animal-free protein. There you go. If Gruppo Tonazzo can do it, I think Oscar Mayer Wiener can do it. Don't you? In letters sent to the company's CEOs, PETA points out that they've all seen the vegan writing on the wall and started offering some vegan products, from Oscar Mayer's not dogs to Smithfield's meat-free meatballs and dairy-free Parmesan. There you go. Global vegan food markets projected to grow by $103 billion by 2032. And meanwhile, all these other animal oppressors, they're losing money. They're going to start losing money because you're poisoning the environment. There's no way. You did it, man. You killed the world. You killed a lot of animals. It's time to get out of the business. Cash in your chips. Try something else. Do something different. You don't want to end up like the tobacco farmers, do you? I don't think so. I don't think you do. Speaking of tobacco farmers, have you heard about this guy? A Hollywood producer's vandalized mansions recalls landmark case when graffiti artists won $6.75 million when they destroyed their work. Here's the mansion. Now, this is in Los Angeles. You've probably maybe even seen this picture. There are these abandoned mansions in Los Angeles because rich people who don't even live there, guess what? They live someplace else and they just own these properties, which is the most galling. Homes are not supposed to be investment opportunities. Let's face it. It's supposed to be a place where you live. But because so many rich people are treating them like investment properties, we are all hung out to dry. Property values go up because the scarcity increases. You ever heard of supply and demand? And then you can't even afford to live in LA anymore. You can't afford to live in a mansion. Somebody already owns it. It's just sitting there. Nobody lives in it. So these graffiti artists, a lot like that high rise earlier this year, they went in and they beautified it. This abandoned mansion. Now, the person who owns it, well, he's pretty upset. They spray painted tags similar to the Los Angeles iconic graffiti towers. Unlikely place in the City of Angels, two Hollywood Hills mansions. They're owned by the same guy. One was purchased for $4.7 million and the other one for $7 million. That's about $12 million that this dude spent on these houses that he's not living in, that he never goes to. He hasn't set foot in them in years. This guy just leaves the houses there. So why not beautify them? The LA Times, citing neighbors of the estates, reports the properties have sat abandoned, overrun by squatters and graffiti artists for a very long time. Now, the guy who owns it's a guy named John Powers Middleton. He's the producer of the Lego Movie and the Bates Motel. He's a Hollywood producer. But you know what's really interesting about him? He's not just a Hollywood producer. You think that a Hollywood producer might be a self-made man or something like that. Poor millionaire. He had these $1 million homes that these bastard graffiti artists went in and screwed all up. Those are his houses after all, and he wants them. He owns them after all. Why aren't the police protecting his property? Well, he's a billionaire. He's not just a millionaire. He was born a billionaire because his family grew tobacco. What happened to the two properties I own is unacceptable, and no matter what caused it, I own the houses. I own the houses. Then live in them. Do something with them. It's unclear why the estates have sat empty for so long, but through his lawyer, he pledged to secure the buildings, clean the graffiti, and pay the city for any costs incurred. Okay, well, yeah, he's the son of John S. Middleton, a billionaire businessman and owner of the Philadelphia Phillies, who sold his family's tobacco business to Altria, Philip Morris's company, and for $2.9 billion in 2007. This is the thing. If you've got $2 billion, $3 billion, $2.9 billion, that's what he sold it for in 2007. So he's probably got more money now. He's probably got 10 billion now, given that the tax structure in America. So why is he allowed to have these things? If you've got billions of dollars, we should be burning you. Like, we should you should not be permitted to have all of that. So wouldn't it be great if you, billionaire, I know you're watching, billionaires, the billionaires of yore, or millionaires back then, but billionaires by today's standards, like Andrew Carnegie, he built libraries in every single city. You know why? Because he thought that if he didn't, they would kill him. No, he thought he had to do something, give something back. After all, a lot of what you got is luck. You were born lucky. You were born with a daddy who owned tobacco farms. And now you produce blockbuster movies with those billions of dollars to make more billions of dollars. While all of us can't afford apartments, you've got $1 million mansions that go and just sit there empty. You should be ashamed of yourself. It should be a shame that you have that amount of money and you're just sitting there rotting these properties. And then you've got a problem with the fact that somebody painted on your properties. But don't forget, in Bel Air, a few miles west, another property sold for $21 million. It's also been turned into a canvas for graffiti artists, part of the growing local trend of vandals targeting affluent neighborhoods for their artwork. Huh, maybe we should do that, huh? Andrew Lieb, a litigation attorney focusing on real estate legal issues, told Business Insider that the vandalism of the Hollywood Hills properties reminded him of a famous federal case in 2013 involving the Visual Artists' Rights Act. In 1990, law gives artists legal rights over their publicly displayed work, regardless of ownership, and prevents the destruction or modification of their artwork in ways that could damage the artist's reputation for 50 years beyond their death. I love this. I love this. You're not allowed to destroy their artwork, millionaire. You left your shit. You didn't secure your property, and you left it for years. And vandals, artists came and they redid your thing. They gave your property some little character, and now it might be illegal for this Philip Morris boy to even change it. He can't even paint over it because he doesn't own the rights to the artwork. Don't let people graffiti your property was the message of that case, unless you intend to keep it there. The towers attracted scores of graffiti artists who tagged the property and base jumpers who used the 53-story buildings to jump from, prompting city officials to spend nearly $4 million to install a fence and clean up the development. Yeah, don't leave eyesores. I don't know, like, if you are gonna have a giant building and you're not gonna do anything with it and you're just gonna let it sit, I think that belongs to all of us. I think this is like the people's park. If you're just gonna have a piece of property and not do shit with it, that's ours. That's the people's. And you know what? Yeah, he worked to be born rich. Yeah, I mean, it's not the fact that he's born rich that's my problem. It's just that 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 privilege, that, oh, I own these things, so you can't paint on them. Well, if you own them, use them. They probably wouldn't have gotten painted on if you lived there or somebody lived there. Rent it out. No, you're hoarding wealth. And this, I say sic semper tyrannis. I say sic semper tyrannis. If you are going to own this type of property, You better pay to secure it. I guess you should have some guards on it. Pay to or rent it out or live in it yourself. This is bullshit. You shouldn't be allowed to have these properties. In California now, a place where I used to surf when growing up, and it used to be such a beautiful beach. Now they've built houses right on the beach, and nobody lives there. The houses are owned, but nobody lives in them because they're investment properties that someone's third or fourth house, or they're people that don't even live in this country or in that state that that now they own these and they're just sitting on them. That's squatting to me. That is squatting. They call squatting when you move into someplace and live there unofficially. That's just, I think, appropriation. Squatting to me is when you build a big building on a piece of land that other people were using or could have used, and you're just going to sit there and wait for the money to roll in. What a piece of garbage these rich people are. What pieces of garbage they are. If you aren't going to give away more of your money, then the people should take it. And if you're not going to use your property, then the people should take it. Oh, Bartleby. Oh, humanity.